Roman navy during the Punic Wars. It started in 264 and went to 241 BCE. The reason the war started was because the Carthaginians attacked the seaport, Messina. The Carthaginians attacked Messina because the Mamertines had taken over the city, asked them for help to keep it, but ended up backstabbing them. The Mamertines then asked Rome for help. Rome came and successfully repelled the Carthaginians, and the bellum started. Roma scit requere se bonum navem ad bellum. Rome knows that they need a good navy for the war. So Rome did not stop. They went through Sicily and took over the city Agrigentum. A Carthaginian general, Hanno, went to take back Agrigentum, but lost to the Romans in a naval battle. Here on this map you can see Sicily. The city Messina is right next to Italy, and all the way across on the other side is Agrigentum. How Rome defeated the Carthaginians. The Carthaginians were knowledgeable in naval warfare. The Romans were not, but they were able to fight and defeat them. This was partially due to the Romans copying the Carthaginians' Navis design. However, the new Roman invention, the corvus, made the victory possible. The corvus was used to board an enemy ship. This was important since while the Carthaginians may have been better nautai, the Romans were still much better milites. The Roman ships. The Romans did not have much of a classic Arius for battle before the Punic Wars. The Romans were much more centered on land conquest, whereas Carthage was a naval power as they traded all along the Mediterranean. In order to compete with the Carthaginians, they decided to copy their ship design. Luckily, they were able to copy the design of a Navis that had run aground. The trireme. This was a short ship that had 3 layers of decks. The ship was made out of wood and covered with paint to be water resistant. It had an Ares that had a copper tip to destroy other ships. Rome made Suri do all the rowing, compared to the Carthaginians that had mercenaries. It could also be up to 150 to 180 rowers at one time. Here you can see a picture of the trireme. Other ships. Other ships that were used were quadriremes and quinquiremes. The quadrireme had 4 decks and the quinquireme had 5. The quinquireme had about 300 rowers at one time. Here you can see a mosaic of most likely a quinquireme. This was a mosaic near a port in Rome. The corvus. The Carthaginians were much better sailors compared to the Romans. The Romans knew they were able vincere the Carthaginians just by sailing, so they invented a new technology, the corvus. The Romans made a pulley system that moved a large piece of wood, and at the end of it there was an iron spike to help it keep on the enemy's boat. Since the Romans had good sailors, they could take over the enemy boat with ease. Here you can see a corvus attached to one of the enemy's boats and the soldiers charging on. And here you can see what the boat looked like in design, with the sailors on the inside and the corvus hanging from above. And here is another mosaic of 2 ships. One had a corvus and it was attacking the other ship. Polybus describes the corvus. The corvus is described here by Polybus, but in this case it was called a raven. They were constructed as follows. On the prow stood a round pole, 4 fathoms in height and 3 palms in diameter. This pole had a pulley at the summit, and round it was put a gangway made of cross planks attached by nails, 4 feet in width and 6 fathoms in length. This gangway was an oblong hole, and it went round the pole at a distance of 2 fathoms from its near end. The gangway also had a railing on each of its long sides as high as a man's knee. At its extremity was fastened an iron object like a pestle pointed at one end and with a ring at the other end, so that the whole looked like the machine for pounding corn. To this ring was attached a rope with which, when the ship charged an enemy, they raised the ravens by means of the pulley on the pole and let them down on the enemy's deck. sometimes from the prow and sometimes bringing them round when the ships collided broadside. Once their ravens were fixed in the planks of the enemy's deck and grappled the ships together, if they were broadside on, they boarded from all directions, but if they charged with the prow, they attacked by passing over the gangway of the Raven itself to abreast. The leading pair protected the front by holding up their shields, and those who followed secured the two flanks by resting the rims of their shields on the top of the railing. Having then adopted this device, they waited an opportunity for going into action. War continues. The Carthaginians did have a very good navy, but due to the new technique the Romans had for boarding their ship, they were able to defeat their navy and sail to Carthage. Although they weren't quite able to take the city and repel a bot, they withdrew, and on the way back to Rome, a lot of boats were destroyed. Around 100,000 soldiers were lost due to a tempestas, so the Romans kept rebuilding their navy. Here, you can see a photo of a navy. War ends. They fought more battles near Sicily, but would continuously lose. In 242 BCE, they finally became successful and took over Lilybaeum and Drepanum. Then, at the end of the war, they were very successful. Gaius Lutatius Catullus, a Roman commander, fought near the Aegates Islands and sunk around 50 ships and captured 70 others. The Carthaginians then knew defeat was inevitable and sought peace and left Sicily, which ended the First Punic War. Catullus milite imperat ut ad quirem. Catullus commanded the Roman soldiers to win. Carthago vincebat, iterum cum Romam adeptilis bellum. When Carthage was defeated, they sought another war with Rome. The Second Punic War. Eventually, Carthage claimed part of Spain, which they thought they could use to renew the war and get revenge on Rome. Rome demanded them to leave, but they didn't. Then, Bellum finally started once again. Here you can see the map right before the Second Punic War. In purple, you could see the Carthaginian land, and in pink, you could see the Italian land, or Roman land. One Punic War battle. One of the battle they had was off the coast of Spain, called the Battle of Urbo. In this battle, the Romans easily defeated the Carthaginians and took control of the Spanish coast. After that, the general for the Carthaginians, Hasdrubal, had a hard time trusting his army and navy, along with his officers trusting him. Hasdrubal punished the naval captains for being cowards at the Battle of Urbo, so the captains revolted against him. Overview. One of the main parts of the naval warfare was keeping the islands, mainly Sicily. This was a key to not being attacked by the Carthaginians by mare. If they controlled the islands, they could keep Rome safe from naval attacks. This made it a lot harder for Hannibal to get reinforcements, because he would have to go over the mountains again. Therefore, it was key for Rome to have a good navy, and they kept the island. Cum Romam, Vincam, Carthaginium, Magnum Navem non volebant habere. When Rome beat the Carthaginians, they did not have a large navy. Like I said before, when Rome beat the Carthaginians, there wasn't much need for a navy. So they ended up having a decline. Most of the time, nobody really was in favor of the navy. But one time, Marcus Antony, when he was in power, he made coins, and on the coins there were pictures of triremes.